What is going on, everyone? Anthony here, and welcome back to another video here on Let's Talk Resident Evil. And in today's news, we are talking about Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. This is the new reboot that we heard about, and it was in a bidding war. Well, it looks like Sony has won the bidding war, and they aren't letting go of Resident Evil. And it looks like this is coming out fall of 2026. So let's read the article from Deadline and get right into it. So as it says here from Deadline, Sony boards Zach Cregger's Resident Evil sets fall 2026 release date. And it says here, Constantine's RE film reboot with Barbarian and Weapon filmmaker Zach Cregger directing will stay at Sony. Warner Brothers was kicking the tires of the latest Cregger pick, but Sony isn't letting that $1.2 billion grossing franchise go. A theatrical release date of September 18th, 2026 has been set, which tells you how excited the studio are to get the latest rendition up to the screen. Cregger's screenplay, which is co-written with Shay Hatton, Ballerina, John Wick Chapter 3, Chapter 4, is under wraps, but apparently harkens back to the original Capcom's game's horror roots. So they always say that. That's nothing new. That's literally just like a press thing that they always say. Constantine Films is producing and co-financing the film. Constantine's Robert Kolzer, Vertigo Entertainment's Roy Lee, Barbarian and Minecraft, and Mary Yoon, Woman of the Hour and Weapons, and PlayStation Productions are also producing. This is from Cregger. He says, I've been a rabid fan of these games for decades, and to be able to bring this amazing title to life is a true honor. That's what he told Deadline on Friday. The world of Resident Evil experienced through Zach's vision is an irresistible feat, beamed Kolzer. Added Sanford Panich, president of Sony Pictures. He says Zach is one of the most talented, exciting new directors to come to the scene in many years. His brilliant approach in restarting and refreshing the legendary Sony franchise instantly makes this one of our most important releases in 2026. Nicole Brown will be overseeing the latest iteration of Resident Evil for Sony Pictures. And then it says they released all of the Resident Evil films with Paul Anderson, of course, Johannes Roberts, and it is up to $1.2 billion worldwide. Welcome to Raccoon City made not even a fragment of that number. But and then it goes on to say how much Mario movie has grossed, which is $1.36 billion, and Sonic has grossed $1.2 billion. So yeah, those movies are killing it. It says Cregger became known for his filmmaking debut with Barbarian, received critical and audience acclaim when it was released. His next film is anticipated Weapons, starring Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, opening via Warner Brothers on MLK Weekend 2026. So he has 2 movies coming out next year. So that's about it for this article. We know that Sony won the bidding war, and now we have a release date for 2026. Now, the only thing here is that, you know, what they're going to actually base this on. Are they going to base this on one of the original games? Are they going to base it off of Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 0? There's been rumblings on the internet about all this stuff. We don't know yet, but if it was me in the director's seat, I would say just focus on the first game. Just show the audience where this horror originates from. And you're always saying, you know, back to the horror roots and back, you know, the press release stuff that they always say. And a lot of the filmmakers always say that they are fans of the franchise, but it doesn't really mean anything until we actually see the film finished and we actually go into it and see a lot of those elements that are true to the game. And we just don't know. I think a lot of things that happen with these studios is there's a lot of meddling with the, you know, the ingredients of this production, right? There's always like somebody in there that's like, let's do this. What if we change that, do this and do that? So even if the director has a genuine heart and love for the franchise and filmmaking, right? Let's not even just talk about Resident Evil, but just the craft of filmmaking and being a good director, that's great. But Sony has been over this franchise forever. And it's always their studio people, whether it's Columbia Pictures, whatever you want to call it, there's always some kind of weird meddling that goes on with a lot of these Resident Evil films, or even just video game related film projects. Because I think that's the big thing, is that we're seeing a resurgence of video game movies actually being pretty well or decent, right? You have the Sonic movies they mentioned, you know, and those are all pretty good. But with the Resident Evil films, we always kind of get the crappy end of the stick, where it might start off okay, maybe the first couple are fine, or something like Welcome to Raccoon City, which was an attempted reboot, which completely shot it down in the ground. And the Netflix series was trying to do its own thing, and it still failed in my opinion. So I just think that you can't blame fans for being a little skeptical going in with like, I don't know about this, including myself. But again, I'm going to give it a shot and we're going to see how the rest of this unfolds. We don't know what this is going to be based off of as far as a Resident Evil game, but maybe we'll get a Resident Evil 1 film where it's just based off of the first game. That would be what I would want personally. But let me know down in the comments what you want this reboot to be based off of as far as a Resident Evil game. And I guess we'll see when there's more updates coming out, and we'll keep all of you guys posted. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Let's Talk Resident Evil. Take care.